Come hoof. Oh. Come. Am I? I'm on. Okay, cool. Come hoof and trunk and tail and horn and paw and wing and claw.
Come bird and reptile, mammal born, all full of nature's law.
Bring bark and crow and ribbit too, in silent stares and hiss.
Bring purr and trill and warble too, and voice no ear can miss.
We gather here, each life and all, to celebrate and sing.
To honor creature, large and small, 'tis holiness we bring. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Central Oregon. My name is Nathan Jenkinson, and I will be your worship leader today. We are so excited that you have come here today. So welcome to all of the birds. Welcome to the black-capped chickadees. Welcome to the great horned owl. Welcome to the marbled merlets. And welcome...
Not all birds.
No, not birds?
Not humans. Humans.
I thought this was a bird sermon. I guess you're telling me it's not all birds. So, well, I guess I'll have to do the human introduction then. We are an inclusive community that affirms the mind, heart, and body in our search for truth and meaning. Here you will find both comfort and challenge for your spiritual journey. Whatever your age, income, or the color of your skin, you are welcome here. Whatever your sexual orientation, gender identity, or life story, you are welcome here. Whatever, if you are full of joy today, if your heart is hurting, you are welcome here. In recognition of the special day, Mother's Day, if you come here today as a mother, as one who yearns to be a mother, as one who chooses not to be a mother, one with a close relationship to your mother, one with a strained relationship to your mother, if you never had a mother, or if your mother is no longer with us, you are all welcome here. And now I would like to introduce our speaker for today. At the tender age of 13, my dear Stef tipped her toes into the waters of animal care during her first year at Southington High School in Southington, Connecticut, which required her to volunteer in the local nature center program on weekends. During Saturdays at the Hungerford Nature Center, Stef grew to love working with all types of animals. Having grown up with dogs, she was already accustomed to the rigors of animal care and found great joy in learning about all of the animals that she encountered. This love transitioned into a deep study of animal behavior in college as Stef attended Delaware Valley University, gaining a degree in conservation and wildlife management. Through various intern programs and jobs across the country, Stef has had the opportunity to reposition raccoons in Pennsylvania, howl with wolves in New Mexico, research red knots on the Atlantic shoreline, band birds in Idaho, educate with eagles in Alaska, manage a menagerie in Maryland, and swim with swans in Oregon, to make a very short and mildly alliterative list. Throughout these adventures, Stef came back over and over again to rehabilitating and training birds in human care, with her kind eyes ever more so focused on finding ways to provide the highest quality of life to animals that cannot return to the wild. In her free time, she finds joy in our doggies, chickens, pigeons, hedgehog, millipedes, and mealworms, and looks forward to that #farming life. She loves playing as birds and animal helpers in many games as well, including Dungeons & Dragons and games like Wingspan. Just as then, it is now that Stef's soul searches to find the best way to provide the best life for those around her, despite trying to navigate the compassion fatigue and burnout that so many in the care industries face. I am excited for you all to become the beneficiaries of her compelling storytelling and passion for all life, as she shares with you about a power niche in the animal world, migration. And so for our opening song, we're going to listen to a song originally written by Paul McCartney, written to honor American Black Women, this version of a song covered by Beyonce, is very empowering. So please feel free to stand or sit as the Spirit leads as we sing along with Blackbird.
All right. Good morning, everybody. My name is Jordan, and I am honored to share with you a brief and very apropos poem by Selena Fox entitled With Love for Mothers and for Mothers during the chalice lighting this morning. We kindle this flame with love for mothers and for mothers, past, present, and future. We kindle this flame in celebration of community and its generations. We kindle this flame with respect and support for the greater circle of life of which we are all part. Thank you. Spirit. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
My name is Amy Brock, and I'm the Director of Religious Exploration for Children and Youth. This month, we've been exploring pluralism, and today that takes us to birds. So while our young people are finding their way to the rug for our story today, I invite you to think about what your favorite bird is. Did anybody think of a favorite bird that they want to share? American goldfinch. Ravens. Baltimore Orioles. Crows.
I like common nighthawks.
Common nighthawks. Ooh. Hummingbirds. Blue-footed boobies. Snowy owl and a falcon. There's so many birds that we could pick. I bet if we could ask everybody here, everybody would probably have a different bird. I don't know. So our story today is about different bird parents and the kinds of nests that they build. And maybe your favorite bird will be in our story today. It's called Mama Built a Little Nest, and it's by Jennifer Ward. Do you have slides? No? Okay, I'll just read it to you. A mama and a dada woodpecker built a little nest inside a big, sturdy tree. They used their beaks to tap, 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 and it was the perfect place for them to be. A mama hummingbird built a little tiny nest, a cup so wee and snug, with walls of moss and a roof of sky and a silky cobweb rug. Mama cowbird built a little nest. Well, actually she didn't. She found another nest that another mama made and left her eggs in that mom's care within it. Mama Penguin built a little nest, and Daddy Penguin helped out too. She placed the egg up on his feet, and that's where they hatched and grew. Mama Falcon scraped a simple nest up on a craggy ledge. She tucked her chick within her wings until it was time for them to fledge. A father wren built a little nest, and then he built another, and another, hoping that one of these nests would be attractive to a mother. Mama Weaver Bird built a little nest. She used her beak to sew a woven nest of silky grass. It was the perfect space to grow. Mama Owl built a little nest by digging out a burrow. It was a hoot, our little home, and safe and feathery burrow. Mama Duck built a little nest. She gathered twigs that floated and placed them on the water to create a cozy boat. Mama Shorebird built a little nest. She placed it on the ground. A simple nest, not very soft, made with pebbles that were smooth and round. Dada Swiftlet built a little nest up on the wall with spit. Who would have thought that such a nest would be the perfect place to sit? Mama Hornbill built a little nest up on an old tree's hollow. She left a very small space for Dad to leave her food to swallow. A Mama and Dada Eagle built a big, sturdy nest by stacking twigs up high, a breezy house up on a tree where talons blend with the sky. Mama Flamingo built a little nest entirely out of mud. No feathery down or soft green grass, just some icky, sticky mud. Did you know that you have a nest of your very own? A place to rest your head with pillows soft and cozy? Your nest is called a bed. So I'm wondering, how many nests did we think about today? Is it like 1 or 2 or, I think there are maybe like 10 nests, 10 different kinds of nests. There's lots of different ways to build nests, yeah. What would happen if birds could only build one kind of nest? Do you think hummingbirds would be happy in an eagle's nest? Probably not, it'd be way too big for them. Do you think that flamingo eggs would be happy in a duck's nest? Maybe. I think they like to be in the mud, though. It's kind of the same, but a little different. Yeah, there's different kinds of birds and different kinds of nests. And this month, we're talking about pluralism, which means different kinds of ideas, different kinds of faiths, different kinds of religions. And in this space, we welcome all of it. And sometimes people have different religions that they believe, and different families have multiple religions that they also practice, spiritual practices and faiths too. So that's exciting that we get to explore that this month. And when we think about that, you can think about all the different nests and all the different birds that make up all of the different ways that we move through the world. We're going to explore pluralism more today in our RE classes and birds more in this space. So before we go, we need to say the Children's Covenant. In this place, I am kind. In this place, I am In this place, I am a friend to the earth and all animals and people. In this place, I am loved. All right, let's go.
As you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go.
Good morning. My name is Chayla Sloper, and I'm the Congregational Life Facilitator. I want to give a warm welcome to all who are gathered here today in physical space and in cyberspace. So all the folks on Zoom, welcome. And if this is your first time here or first time with us on Zoom, we have ways to communicate what's going on with the whole congregation. We have an all congregation email. And so if you'd like to know what's going on in our congregation, we have a virtual visitor form for Zoomers, and you can sign up for the ACE, the all congregation email at the front desk and also at the Connections corner. So I sometimes think that as we're coming into June, it's kind of just coasting. Oh no, keep your seatbelts fastened. So there's still quite a lot to be doing and to be engaged in, hopefully for our enrichment and for making the world a better place. Firstly, starting next Sunday, as far as our congregation goes, it will be the annual meeting of membership of UUFCO. Now, I also found out that there's going to be a big camping trip that is taking people out of the area. We need folks to be here for a quorum, so hopefully y'all can come. Those of you who are members and can come possibly next Sunday, please do. Everyone is welcome to attend, and then members form the quorum. And even if you don't attend, you can get the email and vote, but we need a quorum. So anyway, please come. So we've been talking about a Philippine partner church, and if this appeals to you for our congregation to have a living relationship with a Unitarian Universalist congregation in the Philippines, please talk to either Reverend Scott or me. We're just in the preliminary phases of this, but this could be a really exciting way just to broaden our horizons and to see how Unitarian Universalism is lived into in a different culture. So that's always a possibility for us. So if that appeals to you, talk to Scott or me. Now, for the next 4 Tuesdays, we'll be continuing the series. Now, this isn't news to us, but brace yourselves. We are all going to die. And so this is a series that helps folks just look at what needs to occur in our inward preparation, as well as some administrative things. This next Tuesday, Reverend Scott and Wendy Howard will be talking about conversations about death with yourself and others. So those are at 7 p.m. in Linus Pauling. You don't need to RSVP, but just come. Now, there are some sign-ups. There is a circle supper scheduled for this Friday, but nobody has signed up yet. This is curious, but just to bring your attention to this opportunity to meet in one of our congregants' homes and have a small potluck and conversation. And speaking of sign-ups, there's a new sign-up for choir. If you would like to join this esteemed group, even though they are coming toward their finish line in June, so there's no choir rehearsal during summer, but if you would like to make music with other singers, especially beginning in late August for singing in September, sign up, and David Reeves, our choir director, will be in touch with you. There's also, if you think you're going to be coming back and would like a name tag, you can sign up for that in the Connections corner on the other side of that wall. Okay, we're about 2/3 done. Sorry, it's a big day. So one of our established social justice groups is Fireflies, and for many years, this group has provided books and other educational materials for kids during the summer who are identified as possibly losing ground with their learning. And John Horwich has set up a special date on Sunday, May 26th, if you'd like to learn more about Fireflies and possibly join that team. So that'll be at 11:15 in Linus Pauling on May 26th, and that's specifically to find out more about Fireflies and how you can participate with that group. So I would like the AV folks to bring up the next slide. So Christina Ziegler, one of our congregation's masterful photographers, took this the other night here in Central Oregon. And this is the Aurora Borealis, right. So in our congregation, we do love what science informs us about our world. We love connecting with nature in a variety of ways, and all of these things that nourish our soul. So guess what? Our adult spiritual development team has selected a book called Rooted, and this is looking at the intersections of nature, science, and spirituality. June 7th, there's going to be an opportunity to meet with the author, and if you are unable to purchase a book, I mean, that happens for some of us, books are available, and if you email ASD, Adult Spiritual Development, a book will miraculously be provided for you generously for this all-congregation read. So we want very much to participate in this. This is a way for all of us to share our thoughts, and there will be opportunities for discussions. Now, and then lastly, let's see, yes, Bend Pride, Saturday, June 1st. There's a sign up at the kiosk. It looks like the setup is going to be earlier than previously thunk. I think I may have to get there at like 8:30, but anyway, those who have signed up, if you don't want to go that early, no problem, but we do need help to be in our presence at Pride. So, lastly, Memorial Day weekend, we have something very special planned. And I'm going to ask that the next slide be brought up, and I'm going to introduce Stephen Parkin to you, who has some words about a very exciting new event in this congregation, and backed by popular demand, blessings on your day.
Good morning. My name is Stephen Parkin, he, him. And as Chayla mentioned, I'm here this morning with an announcement about the Men's Fellowship. Memorial Day weekend, that's in 2 weeks, right? We're having our first ever renewal day. The meeting will be on Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. initially with some orientation, and then all day on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. with lunch and dinner both provided. Because this is our first time doing this, I want to share with you a bit about what we're going to be up to. In short, the renewal is a gathering focused foremost on connection with each other and with ourselves, and also on recharging and on personal and spiritual growth. The Saturday session will involve a series of workshops, large group discussions, and small discussion groups with a fixed group of men who you'll get to know extremely well, along with other activities. We're having a couple guests up from the San Diego Men's Fellowship, so they have a very large established group there. And Reverend Scott will also be participating in a variety of ways, including leading a workshop on men's spirituality. In addition to these workshops and small group discussion circles, which are really the heart of the day, there's going to be lots of things like music and poetry, some chanting and drumming, opportunities for silence and reflection, food, camaraderie, connection, and much more. I want to note that the Men's Fellowship in general, and this renewal in particular, includes many men and anyone who identifies as a man in the fellowship, including younger men all the way up through elders, newer folks to the congregation, as well as old-timers and established hands. In short, we're a big, diverse, welcoming group. I want to promise to you, which is something I don't do lightly, that this event is going to be a memorable and meaningful event for anyone in the congregation who identifies as a man. I think it's going to be a major experience for our church. We're very excited about it. So I'm hoping that if you're around on Memorial Day weekend and you identify as a man, that you'll consider joining us. We ask that if you are going to come, that you'll register for the renewal, preferably sooner rather than later, because we're ordering food and supplies. And we're also putting a great deal of care into the formation of the small kinship groups for discussion and connection. A link to the registration can be found in the weekly ACE, the all-congregational email, on the Men's Fellowship listserv, and there's a poster in the gathering hall. Or if you'd like help registering or have any questions, feel free to approach me or any of the other members of our ad hoc committee who've been helping plan it, including Bob Barber and Duke Chadsey, who are here today, and Mark Dierbeck. We'd all be happy to help. For registration, we ask $50 if you're able to help us just cover the catered lunch and dinner on Saturday and a few modest supplies. But it's important to me to stress that there's a full and partial scholarships available, no questions asked. You simply check the box and opt in as you're registering for us. We have some funds to defray costs, including donations from men in the fellowship, specifically for the purpose. We're hoping that everyone that wants to join can. So please don't let money be a barrier. We want you to be there. So again, that's Memorial Day weekend, only 2 weeks away, here at UUFCO, and the commitment again is on Friday night from 7 to 9 p.m., and then all day Saturday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And please register if you think you might be able to come. Thank you for listening as I shared about this event. Like I said, I'm confident that it's going to be a really meaningful experience for everyone involved. I hope to see everyone who identifies as a man in the congregation and is available to be there. I hope you'll consider joining us. Have a wonderful day.
We will now receive today's offering to support the programs and ministries of this congregation. Through these gifts, we strengthen the bonds of our community and nourish the possibilities of the future. If today is your first time with us, you are more than welcome to pass the basket. Your presence is a gift to us alone.
Good morning to you, and happy Mother's Day to all those wonderful mothers with us or past, or grandparents who are mothers. My name is Ben Morgan. I'm a member of the pastoral care team, and each week we read joys, concerns, and gratitudes. And I am so happy there are no concerns today. I will start out with a tribute to my great aunt Margaret Morgan, who filled in as my mother while I was going to college in Fort Collins, and we would simply sit on her front porch string. She made the perfect gin and tonics, and I would, since my mother is in New Jersey, I would receive motherly advice from her. And she was a war widow. She brought up three wonderful women. As a single mom, became a mover and shaker in Fort Collins, in particularly for the Hispanic community. And I was honored to have her for my mother for about 4 years there. Any of you that have joys and concerns, and you don't wish to acknowledge them with us right now, you can go to the side of either side of a sanctuary and light candles. First joy is Sharon Adams. Oh, it's a joyous day for me to have the company of Dylan, Caitlin, and their new baby daughter, Quinlan. Happy Mother's Day. Ellen Atkins. The flowers today honor all mothers and are also in memory of mine, Virginia Rose. Leora, a joy that Mountain View High School students enjoyed prom here last night. There was dancing, snacks, froyo, whatever that is, and some glorious gold confetti. Your events crew couldn't quite remove it all. So we hope you will enjoy it today, too. Annis Henderson, I hope I've got that name right. Grateful for our mother, children, and grandkids. Let's be mindful for thousands in Ukraine, Africa, and the Middle East who try to survive in wartime. Jill Parkin, happy Mother's Day to my mom, who is visiting from Spokane, Washington. It's nice to have her here with us. And a final gratitude, turning into the driveway, someone stopped and picked up a bag of trash. Thanks, Reverend Scott. For all of you who have joys and concerns that remain unspoken, we are with you that. And if you have any need of the pastoral care team, please contact the church office or any member of the team here. Thank you.
Now is the time for our prayer and meditation. These words by Walter and Sally. By knowledge, God has given the bird to teach us all about love. She builds her nest and raises her young with wisdom from the Father above. She daily gathers food for them and tenderly feeds them beak to beak. The way in which she cares for her young is so beautiful and unique. She lovingly gathers her brood and covers them beneath her wings to shelter them from the elements and from every harmful thing. Oh, what precious story is heard in the love of the mother bird.
I know a bird that sings all night. Mad with love in the full moonlight.
He steals his rolling roundelay.
He steals his rolling roundelay. From proper birds that sing by day. Chip, 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 How do I know he pours his song?
How do I know he pours his song?
Mad as moonlight all night long.
All night long.
I myself the whole night through,
I myself the whole night through,
eager him while I long for you. While I long for you, long for you. Chip, 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 chip,
talk about that a cappella performance before we practiced with the piano, and I just think they're incredible. You go, choir. I know a bird that sings all night, and I know a bird that sleeps all night, and I know a bird who doesn't sleep at night. His name is Foghorn. He is my rooster, and I have heard him doing his ancestral cock-a-doodle-doo at all times of night and day. I assume his 24/7 singing raves probably make him my neighbor's favorite bird. Now, Foghorn is the ages past domesticated descendant of the red junglefowl, a species found throughout Southeast Asia, and that is occasionally known to make short migrations between some islands. And with that, I've effortlessly segued to the topic at hand today. Yesterday, May 11th, was the infamous holiday World Migratory Bird Day. And even though I know most Americans throw their raucous parties on May 11th to celebrate it, we're still so honored that you chose to celebrate it this morning here with us. When I normally hear people talking about migration, it normally comes down to, oh look, a Canadian geese. Nice V, see you later, chums. And I love that understanding of migration, but it truly doesn't fully cover the grandeur of the act. I developed an interest in migration a long time ago when I realized that all of us, every single person in this room, who are the byproduct of migration. And although we're going to focus on feathered migration today instead of human migration, the reason that every single one of you exists is because we did the most incredible thing so many years ago. We migrated out of Eastern and Southern Africa. Our ancestors migrated. They moved from one place to another, and we are here because of that. We are here because they decided to move around. Our ancestors migrated for many reasons. Some of them are shared with our feathered friends, like food scarcity, changing weather patterns, and a chance for their babies to have more space to grow. And there are many different types of avian migration, or, again, the act from moving to one place to another. There's a short migration, like the blue grouse, who travels the massive 1,000 feet to get here, to get to a little bit further down the mountains to feed on the seeds of the forest below them. And if you parked out at Between Evergreens Outdoor Recreation Shop to get here this morning, you have taken a longer walk than the blue grouse does its entire migration. And then there is long migration, like the Arctic terns, who travel 25,000 miles, literally across the globe and back, to their Arctic wintering grounds, to their Antarctic wintering grounds, to their Arctic summer breeding grounds. And some birds, like bald eagles, will migrate at different times for different reasons, or might not migrate at all. Some birds will migrate up and down mountains. Some birds will migrate back and forth in a straight line, and some birds will migrate in a loop. Do you feel like you're in a Dr. Seuss book yet? So to understand the depth and complexity of migration, the act that many birds go through every year, let's go through the 8 steps of migration and walk in the shoes of a bird who typically doesn't really wear any shoes. Step 1, figure out it's time to migrate. How do birds know it's time to migrate? For some that fly short distances, the answer is the same answer that gets you to go to the grocery store when you need to. The area is out of food. For birds, that may mean that there are plants that are no longer producing seeds in the colder winter months. And for you, it may mean that you just woke up and your spouse is making waffles and dang, you just realized that you're out of syrup. What else are you going to do but make a quick run to Safeway? For the birds that take longer migration routes or migrate for different reasons, the how you know it's time can get a little complicated. The increasing or decreasing length of daylight hours can indicate it's time to go and actually creates a hormonal response in some birds that indicate it's time to get moving. Another definitely avian example is Forrest Gump. The reason he started running back and forth across the country was created by loneliness. Well, I don't think that's necessarily the same reason as many birds. There are many different ways to migrate, and an equal number of different ways that birds will learn that it's time to go. So now we're on to step 2, get prepared. Moving those wings takes up so much stored energy. And one thing that many long-distance migrants do before they go up is build up juicy fat reserves. It's going to be a long trip for those birds, and they won't be able to stop for a wonderful 3 meals a day like we can on our road trips. When I was working doing songbird banding at a crucial stopover site in Idaho, one of the main things we did alongside our banding operation was check those good fat deposits and give them a visual measurement and take each bird's weight. For science! Although birds don't have a bird gym to go to in order to get swole before a migration, building up musculature is also another important thing for birds to do to ensure that they can survive the physical, intense effort that they're going to be putting into their migration. Another thing is, some birds don't take a migration, even if their other members of their species do. When I worked at a wildlife rehabilitation center in southeast Pennsylvania, I often got panicked wintertime calls from well-intentioned humans who would say to me, "Oh my goodness, there's still a Canada goose on this lake. We gotta save him. Get your waders, we're going in." And oftentimes those individual or sets of two geese would be perceived as left behind because they were still in the area in the dead of winter. But sometimes geese who have like angel wing that makes their wings kind of go like this from being given bread at a young age by well-intentioned humans, or geese that may have survived some sort of collision and can't make the flight will choose to stay in the area. And oftentimes they can sometimes survive the winter if there's less competition in the area. So a bird making the decision on if they're physically able to make the migration is a crucial step in getting prepared for migration. So step 3, it's time to take off. We gotta go. When the time is right, birds will depart from their breeding grounds or wintering grounds to begin their journey. The timing of departure can vary on factors like day length, weather conditions, and access to food. Early in my career, I worked to band and get information on the red knot, a little shorebird whose population is threatened. Red knots make a long migration between Canada and Brazil, and a crazy chain of events has led them to being threatened, and therefore I will now start talking about rabbits. In the blood of certain species of animals, there's a compound called limulus amoebocyte lysate, and for the rest of the story, I'm going to refer to this compound as LAL. LAL is incredibly necessary for humans to collect as it helps to ensure the safety of vaccines, intravenous fluids, and other medical procedures. Now, initially, they easily found LAL in rabbit blood. And humans have kept rabbits for farming and pets for so many years, so there are many animal laboratory facilities that operated to harvest rabbits' blood. Eventually, animal rights organizations stepped in, they lobbied, and passed laws that made it so they could no longer harvest LAL from rabbit blood. And since there was no other way to create LAL, and it was necessary, they found the next best candidate that had LAL in their blood: horseshoe crabs. And if you've never encountered a horseshoe crab, the best descriptor I can give to it is it's kind of like an ocean floor Roomba with like little crab legs tucked underneath and like a long uncooked spaghetti noodle tail. Now, these described horseshoe crabs typically lay their eggs at the same time each year on a beach, and the organizations that needed their blood found that this was an easy time to come and bleed them. Unluckily, there isn't really a standard for how much blood you can safely draw from a horseshoe crab. And because of that, many horseshoe crabs perished continuously year over year, and therefore did not lay as many eggs in the sand. Now that we're done talking about blood, we're going to come back from our crazy chain of events to our favorite little bird, the red knot. They depend on eating horseshoe crabs to get themselves nice and horseshoe crab eggs, not crabs themselves. That would be a ginormous act for a little shorebird. And because the number of horseshoe crabs dropped, so have the number of horseshoe crab eggs, and so have the number of red knots. One summer, I worked on a team with biologists and conservationists to simultaneously save the horseshoe crabs during nighttime low tides and do research on red knots during the day. Because the migration of red knots is so tightly aligned with the horseshoe crabs laying their eggs, me and the scientists that were on my team were able to calculate the time of the red knot's departure down to the hour. And we were able to rent out a beach house for the night of the Red Knots takeoff overlooking the ocean. We had a cocktail and waved goodbye to the Red Knots as they made their way south in groups of the thousands. My team and I were cheering, dancing, screaming our goodbyes and good lucks to the birds. That night was truly one of the most magical experiences I've had in my time working with birds. And to the regular onlooker, we probably all looked really crazy. But to us that night, we were acknowledging an ancient phenomenon, and we hoped our feathered friends would survive their journey. While not all birds' migration can be calculated so specifically, groups of birds tend to be fairly consistent in their times of migration, for whatever reason that group has for migration. As I often hear, the only way to begin is by beginning. And I think whether you see migration as a purely scientific process, or in the same way we did that night, as an unexplainable magical phenomenon, the beginning of the act can feel sort of like the start of a miracle. Step 4, find your way. How do birds find their way to their migration sites? Personally, I navigate, albeit poorly, on my handy-dandy iPhone with its little Google Maps app. For birds, they often look at landmarks, celestial cues, such as the position of the sun and the stars and Earth's magnetic fields. When I was banding songbirds in Idaho along a stopover site on a migration route, I knew that when the birds started to migrate again, they would just follow the mountains down to Central and South America. There are 4 major flyways in North America that birds tend to take when they migrate. Some have easy context cues to navigate. For example, the shorebirds like the red knots I mentioned before kind of just are going to follow the shoreline down to Brazil when they migrate. However, what do you do when you are a bird who's flying down the middle of the continent, when there aren't as many visual cues to follow? Now, this is where we get to talk darkly about bird vision. And bird vision varies from species to species. And it's so different from the vision of humans. And if there are any ophthalmologists in the room, I'm going to apologize ahead of time, and please don't hold a grudge against me for how much I'm going to boil this subject down. Essentially, the eyes of different animals are adapted to see color and movement. Human eyes see color and movement about the same, but many birds' eyes, especially songbird eyes, see color way more often than way better than they see movement. And I'm sure you've all experienced this firsthand. So many times, a songbird will fly across the road right in front of your car. And my mom used to say that those birds had a death wish. And hey, Mom, happy Mother's Day if you managed to get Zoom working. But those birds who swooped in front of your car literally couldn't perceive how fast your car was going, and they made a narrow mistake because their vision isn't evolved to see movement as much as ours. And these differences in birds' eyes made the space for a light-sensitive protein that actually makes them be able to see Earth's magnetic fields. That's not something I can easily relate to, but it's pretty cool, and many birds use that to migrate. Step 5, fly, fly, fly. Migration involves long periods of sustained flight across vast distances, often at high altitudes to optimize efficiency, to minimize the risk of predation, and to navigate thermals. Some species fly continuously, while others make stopovers along the way. And step 6, stopovers, baby! Certain birds make stopovers at specific sites to rest and replenish their resources. These stopover sites tend to have a lot of food resources and a lot of places for birds to stay, and some birds spend days or weeks at these stopover sites to, again, get a little chunky, get a little swole before they continue their migration. And that brings us to step 7, navigate the migration hazards. Throughout their journey, birds face various hazards, including bad weather, predation, habitat loss, and collision with man-made structures like buildings or towers. So navigating these hazards require flexibility and adaptation on the birds, and not all birds will make it. Some ornithologists suggest that only 50% of birds will survive a migration. So let's take this bird for an example. Nathan, will you please bring up the bird in question? We're going to call this a bird. Let's name this bird Gerald, and let's say Gerald is a migratory bird, perhaps a yellow-breasted chat, and this yellow-breasted chat needs to make its way to Costa Rica. We're going to say that colorful wall back there to the coffee room is Costa Rica. So we're going to see if Gerald can make it all the way through migration. And there's going to be a lot of hazards along the way, and maybe a lot of things that can help the bird. So if Gerald doesn't make it and anybody wants to help Gerald, feel free. So I also want to mention, before we actually do this, that nobody gave me permission to throw things at the congregants. And it's definitely not the opinion of the worship teams that we should throw things at you. But since no one's currently standing up to stop me, we're going to go ahead. Nathan, will you help Gerald? No, Gerald! Gerald made a net 0. Gerald didn't win. Gerald's trying again. Oh, Gerald! Oh, Gerald, no! Gerald, we gotta go. Gerald, please, make it. We're all rooting for you. Oh, no. Oh, no, Gerald. So if you're on Zoom and you can't see us wildly throwing Gerald across the room, yes, John! Yes, Gerald! Gerald! Oh, yes! Woo! We're helping Gerald get across. We gotta help Gerald get there.
That would be collision.
Everybody's
like,
helping Gerald. There's down-tail winds. There's so much help for Gerald. Woo! Gerald! Gerald did it with your help. Thank you and hallelujah. Step 8, arrive. After completing their journey, birds will begin their sojourn at their winter or breeding grounds. The timing of this arrival can be critical. Birds must arrive when there is enough food and places to stay. Now, depending on the bird, they may overwinter and do it all again in the spring at their breeding grounds. Mother's Day, am I right? Birds may live in a beautiful cycle of completing a migration and then getting the prize of beginning their journey again and seeing their world again. A lot of steps of migration for birds are, quite frankly, beyond my imagination. But completing something massive and tremendous and having the prize of being able to do it again and again and again seems pretty familiar to me. Although it's hard to compare doing my laundry to the earth-shattering act of migrating, I can kind of understand that cyclical nature of life. A bird can migrate so they can live another day during the colder season, just like I can start my washing machine so I have clothes for tomorrow. And it's easy to overlook the importance of this cyclical nature of life. And it's not just birds and humans that do this. Insects, amphibians, reptiles, and other mammals are known to migrate. And I think sometimes the cycle can seem harsh and unrewarding, and although not every entity will migrate, all entities will participate in that cyclical nature of life. That is life. Most humans complain about doing the dishes, mowing the lawn, or vacuuming the floor. But doing the dishes means that you are able to eat. Mowing the lawn means that life is growing and sustained. And that having to vacuum the floor means that life was lived in your house, albeit messily. My dogs definitely make it messily. And it can be hard to find great gratitude for the little things. But I find that life is just a little bit better when you can be gratitude and present throughout all of it. Kind of like the birds. And even for the parts that seem annoying and happen over and over again. I am grateful for every bird that makes their migration, and I am grateful for all of you in this room and on Zoom that have also made your migrations. Whatever migrations you make, whatever cyclical patterns you take, you are a living miracle. And in the same way that birds make their journeys despite the peril, you make your journeys despite the peril. In the same way that birds make their journeys full of life, you make your journeys full of life. And I see you, I feel you, and I love you. Thank you and fly high, my little birdies, because each and every one of you are extraordinary. I told David that I would announce the choir song. A+ on me for forgetting that. The choir is going to sing Here Together, the first verse. I think there's a slide for it. Yeah, awesome. So they'll sing the first verse, and then you guys can sing along with them for the second verse, okay?
I have knocked the pencil off of the podium for the second time. Please remain standing and join with me in the unison reading. I could have read it before I commented about the pencil. As we read the covenant and extinguish the chalice. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Just as the birds embark on their migratory odyssey, each one of us navigates life's journey. Here's to celebrating life's twists, turns, and migrations big or small. Fly high, my fellow travelers. Flap your wings and know that I love you. We love you, and we are excited for your migratory wings to land back here. Thank you.